Welcome back, everybody. Hope everyone is doing well. My name is Jason. I'll be your host on this CFL talk show, Huskies Huddle. In this video, we preview and predict Week 12 of the 2022 CFL season. But really quickly before we get started, if you want to support the channel, as always, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. I greatly appreciate it. And with that said, let's get started with today's video. So this week, we have a lot of matchups that we've seen a lot in recent weeks. A couple of these teams played last week, and then there were a couple of matchups here that we've seen a couple of weeks ago, such as Toronto and Hamilton. So we'll start with the first game, which is tonight, Thursday night, between the Calgary Stampeders and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers favored by 6.5 points here at home. And I think the big story, obviously, in this one is that Jake Maier is going to be getting the start at quarterback for the Calgary Stampeders over a healthy Bo Levi Mitchell. And obviously, this is a huge decision for Calgary. And as Farhan Lalji alluded to on Sports Center, he said that this is not going to be a one-week decision, that the leash on Jake Maier is not going to be very short. But at the same time, I think if he comes out here and plays well, he's really going to kind of take a stranglehold of this job, because he would have been able to do what Bo Levi Mitchell wasn't able to do in those couple of games previously against Winnipeg. If they can get the win here at Winnipeg on the road, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with the Stampeders quarterback situation going forward. And I'm really excited to see Jake Maier get this opportunity, because he's really impressed me in the opportunities he's had so far in the Canadian Football League as a starting quarterback. So I'm very excited to watch him play in this game. Maybe it revitalizes this offense a little bit with Reggie Bagleton, Kamar Jordan, guys that have been superstars in this league, and they just haven't been playing like it. So let's see if that helps this offense get back into the rhythm that they need to be successful, to beat these better teams. Kadeem Carey is back into the lineup as well. Saw the depth chart for this game. So that's huge as well for the Stampeders as they look to finally beat Winnipeg the third time here. And I think another thing is, can this defense for Calgary avoid key mistakes? I think that is going to be very crucial, because the last time, or one of the last times they played Winnipeg, they took so many little offside penalties on defense, gave Winnipeg just extra plays and opportunities to make plays, and I think that was really a killer for this defense. So hopefully they can avoid that for their sake in this game to give them a better chance to win. And then from the Winnipeg perspective, they're coming off a bye week. Obviously, had 2 weeks to stew over that loss to Montreal, and it's going to be interesting to see if they get a big bounce-back game here. I'm looking forward to seeing if Zach Collaros continues his stellar play versus the Stampeders so far this season. So I'm really excited to see what happens in this game, because the first two matchups in this series have been excellent. So at the end of the day, with my prediction for this one, I am going to go with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers to win this game by a score of 27-20. I just think that I haven't seen enough from the Stampeders to think that if they make that switch with Jake Maier, that it's magically going to fall into place with all of these pieces on offense. I think Winnipeg is just the better team right now, and I think they're going to complete the season sweep of the Stampeders. And then over on the community tab, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are being picked 75% of the time, so that's the channel's pick this week. Now moving on to the first game of Friday's doubleheader between the Hamilton Tiger-Cats and the Toronto Argonauts from BMO Field, where the Toronto Argonauts are favored by 2.5 points here. And I think a big underrated storyline in this game is that Hamilton has not won a road game so far this season, and something's got to give. They got to find a way to win a road game, or else their season's going to be quickly over here in the next few weeks here, because it's getting late early for the Tiger Cats, and they still have an opportunity, if they can win these next 2 weeks, to really change their season around, because they would actually jump the Argos in the standings, and that would be their way back into the playoff race in the East Division. So very, very crucial game for Hamilton, and it's huge for the Argos as well, who are also coming off a very disappointing loss last week. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens in this matchup. From a matchup perspective, we've seen these two teams play 2 of the last 3 weeks, so not too much more to say here. I think a lot of it comes down to the quarterbacks and how consistently they play and what team plays well in the fourth quarter. I think is going to be able to come away with a win. But at the end of the day, I am going to go with the Toronto Argonauts to win this game 25-21. I just have slightly more confidence in them at this point than the Tiger Cats, who I really have no faith in to close games right now. They just have played putrid in the fourth quarter basically all season long, although ironically the only fourth quarter they've won all season was the last time they played Toronto. So we'll see what happens, but I'll go with the Argos to win this game. And then over on the community tab, the fans are taking the Argos 58% of the time, so that's the channel's pick for this game this week. And then the late game on Friday night between the BC Lions hosting the Saskatchewan Roughriders, with the BC Lions favored by 3.5 points the last time I checked. And the big story, obviously, with this game is that this is the first game without Nathan Rourke for the BC Lions, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this team responds to that. Do they rally around Michael O'Connor, and does Michael O'Connor get off to a good start early on in his first start in the CFL? I believe it's his first career start in the CFL. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he plays in this one. Obviously, the big story in this game. And then I think a big area to look at specifically within this game for the Lions is how does that offensive line look? Because with Nathan Rourke, I think has really been the X factor with his pocket presence this year. He's been very smooth and just ducking out of pressure. And I don't know if Michael O'Connor possesses that same natural feel in the pocket to make this offensive line look much better than it is. Granted, they have played a lot better than I thought they would going into the season, but I'm still not convinced that this is a great offensive line, and we're going to have to see how they do with more of a traditional pocket passer in Michael O'Connor back there this week. And then from the Roughriders' point of view, obviously you have to talk about how they're getting a couple of big reinforcements back with Kyron Moore and Shaq Evans, two guys that have been very crucial to not just this team, but to Cody Fajardo specifically in his production the last couple of years. Really huge to get those guys back because Cody Fajardo and their team in general is just in need of a huge bounce back game here. And I'm interested to see if they get that from Fajardo and the rest of this offense that really just played terrible last week at home against BC. So very crucial game for them. They have the opportunity to capitalize on that Nathan Rourke injury and potentially, get a win here that they otherwise probably wouldn't have wrote down on the schedule. But at the end of the day, I am going to take Saskatchewan to win this game in an upset just because I think those reinforcements with Evans and Moore are going to be huge for this team and this offense, especially Shaq Evans, who has been a really crucial guy for Cody Fajardo the last few years, especially as a deep threat, open up that area of his game. So I'm interested to see what happens with this game. I think it can go either way, but I'm going to go with Saskatchewan to win this game 24-21. And then over on the community tab, the fans are taking the Roughriders 57% of the time, so that's the channel's pick for this game this week. And then our final game of the week, a rematch from last week between Ottawa and Edmonton, with Edmonton being favored by 3.5 points here at home. And the big storyline in this game, once again, I sound like a broken record, but can the Edmonton Elks finally break that dreadful home losing streak that stretches back to 2019? And I think they have as good of an opportunity to do that as any in this game, because I think this is one of the first times they actually have been favored at home the last couple of years, and it's going to be interesting to see if they can capitalize on that momentum that they built up last week in the second half with Taylor Cornelius, Darrell Walker. All these guys started to get on the same page, and it looked like they finally turned the corner offensively and put together consistent drive after drive. Can they do it again at home? Give their fans finally a home win. I'm really interested to see if they can do that. And then for Ottawa, they're starting Nick Arbuckle for the first time this season. I mean, it's probably about time that we saw Nick Arbuckle because Caleb Evans was really struggling from a passing perspective. So I think the offense is going to look a lot different for Ottawa going forward with Arbuckle as opposed to Evans. I think you get a lot more rhythm and timing in terms of the passing game. Arbuckle likes to stay on schedule with that. But on the other hand, you don't have as much athleticism with Arbuckle there that you did have with Caleb Evans to do creative play calling. So I'm interested to see how this Ottawa offense looks early on in this game, and if they can get off to a good start and find a way to get their second win of the season here. But at the end of the day, I am going to go with Edmonton to finally win that first home game. Picked them a couple weeks ago against Saskatchewan, but I feel even more confident in this one because I think this is a team that is there for the taking in Ottawa that, is starting to feel like their season is just pretty much over at this point. A couple more losses, it just seems like it's officially happening. So I'm interested to see what happens in this game. I think it'll be close, but I'm going to go with Edmonton to win this game by a score of 25-21 at home and finally give their fans something to cheer about. And then over on the community tab, the fans are taking Edmonton 68% of the time, so that's the channel's pick for this game this week. But at the end of the day, those are just my predictions for week 12 of the 2022 CFL season. Be sure to let me know yours down in the comment section. And with that said, hope everyone has a great day, enjoys the games this weekend, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.